Hello, hello, baby is in corner. uh, yeah, it's been a while since I filmed Play Square. Get used to it because sister is returning home from college, for the holidays soon. And so, the best place for me to film sometimes is in this exact corner. Also, I feel like I have to explain this. One day I do plan to film an unhaul, and they don't all fit on my shelves anymore, so, yeah. Last I checked, I think there was 28, but I added people we meet on vacation in the last video of this series, so I think it's 29 now. But yes, this is a monochromatic reading vlog series. I believe this is the 5th one. We did blue in May, or was it the month before May? Was that April? I think it was April. And then we did green in May, and then we did yellow in August. We did orange last month in November. I was originally gonna do in October, but I did in November, and now we're doing red in December. Kind of makes sense. And whatnot. So here we are. Playlists, the links to them are kind of long, but in descriptions. Looks kind of weird. So the playlist will be up above in the cards, and I think that's about it. I am starting to film this a little early, not as early as I wanted to, but I kind of want to have this the second vlog up in the month so I can have the holiday one the week of the holidays, right? If that makes sense. So here we are. And I'm going to talk about the 5 books I'm going to read. And I'm going to start with the one that I kind of want to start today, and that is Dark Matter. That one I have as an audiobook, so I can listen to it while I play video games, which is what I want to do after I finish filming this. It is a sci-fi by Blake Crouch. This will be my second Blake Crouch. First one I read was Recursion in the Yellow Monochromatic Reading Vlog, which I kind of liked. But from my understanding, people prefer Dark Matter, and I'm pretty sure it was turned into a TV show and all that fun stuff. So there's all that. But I do kind of plan to start it today, but we'll see what happens. And yeah. In a similar name, the one physical book I have is Dark Lover. This is a used copy I got from my favorite bookstore, because I couldn't find the ebooks like anywheres. Okay, I'm just gonna take this moment to state that my mom is taking a shower, which means the pipes are acting up. So if you hear anything, that's what it is. But I bought this, I want to say like a year ago, because I couldn't like find it anywheres, and it was the same price to buy this used than to get it as an ebook. I do prefer to read physically. It's just cheaper to do ebooks. Hear me out. And also, instead of benefiting Jeff Bezos' bank account, I gave my money to a small bookstore. So, you know, but this is a adult, I don't know if it's adult or new adult, but I think it came out before new adult really became a thing. So I'm gonna go with adult. Vampire romance type situation, which is perfect because the video that I just finished filming is for me finishing Vampire Academy, which means I need a new vampire series to fill my soul. So why not be this one? I've heard a lot of great things about it. I only bought the first one because I wanted to see if I liked it before I started to like buy them all, if that makes sense. But yeah, I have it in mass market. It's very shiny cover, if you can't tell. And I think I could have a good time. But yes, that is the physical book for this vlog. Now, about vampires. I don't know if Evernight has vampires or not. I really should check these things beforehand, but why would I do that? I barely know anything about it. I think it's classic YA, early 2000s YA, 2010s maybe. I've heard a lot about it. And it's always available at my library, so I'm not gonna bother worrying about it coming in on time. And that is another one. And then one that I do have from the library right now, I have the ebook, is Beloved by Toni Morrison. I do have it on my Kindle already, but I think I found the audiobook and it's narrated by her. If I refind it again, I will dual read it because that sounds very interesting, okay, right? Like, the book being narrated by the author, hell yeah, give it to me. So if I do find that copy again, I will dual read it. If not, I'll just do straight up ebook. But I'm kind of in a audiobook mood, so for the time being, I'm gonna wait. Maybe I'll see if I can find the audiobook later tonight. But I'm excited to finally read that one. That one's been on my TBR since, like, I want to say spring of this year. I've been like constantly wanting to read it and then just never being able to fit into my TBR. So then I came up with a genius plan of putting it purposely in a video so that it will be part of my TBR and I have to read it. Because that's how I have to get myself to read sometimes, okay? And yeah, excited to finally read that one. And then the last one is the Riley Sager. Right, yes. I think it's called Final Girls, if I remember properly. I have read 2 Riley Sagers before. The green one was not in the green monochromatic reading vlog because I think the first 4 of his are very monochromatic. That was part of the original idea for this, right? I did read the green one before I started filming any of these a long time ago, Home Before Dark. I own it, it's over in that corner. And I liked it. I think I rated it 4 stars. And then in the blue monochromatic one, I read Is It the Last Time I Lied, I think. And I think his writing style is very easy for me to read. And I can do it pretty easily, which is the only reason why I continued to read it, despite the fact that I really, really hated it. And I rated it 2 stars. So if you want to know more about that, that's in the blue monochromatic reading vlog. But yeah, I wasn't the biggest fan of that one, obviously. I had heard from other people on BookTube, but also on Goodreads, about how Riley Sager writing women isn't like the best thing. He doesn't do them justice. Sometimes it's in a creepy way. Like, I've heard all that before, and I never really got it from Home Before Dark. And then I read The Last Time I Lied, and hear me out. I really don't want to hear about 16-year-old girl's sex life ran by a middle-aged white man. Or in general, hear me out, okay? Like, that was the main drive of that book, okay? So, you know, good times, good times. I really know nothing about Final Girls. I think it's the one of the main 4 that I know nothing about. Like, I know a little bit about Lock Every Door, which is the pink one. Spoilers for that vlog. But I know nothing about Final Girls. And so I'm going in just knowing it's a mystery, but I'm down for it because, hear me out, the last book I just read, the main plot point in this was a mystery, and I kind of just want to read a good mystery right now. So, you know, I'm down. And yeah, that's it. That's the 5 books. Okay, so, like, you remember the time when I said yesterday that I was gonna read Dark Matter? Well, I did. I did start Beloved. And I got 54 pages into it last night. I did find the audiobook that is narrated by her, and I do like it. So I'm gonna continue dual reading and having a good time with that. I mean, I'm only like not even 20% of the way in, so there's not much for me to say except that the writing style is different than I think anything I've read before, and I'm enjoying it. The story is interesting so far. So far, it's definitely more character-based than plot-based, but that's fine. And yeah, that's basically all I've got to say. I think the only like plot thing is the haunted house, but that also seems more character-based than plot-based, so really I think that's it. So the plan was, hear me out, getting to page 197 today during sprints, because while it's a 324 page book, it is 3 chapters long, and that's when chapter 1 ends. So I wanted to finish chapter 1 today. I just read a chapter the next 2 days, right? That makes sense. And then on sprints, my computer decided that I didn't want to be showing StreamYard or doing StreamYard, and also the timer at the same time, or at least the timer I planned to do, so that I could listen to the audiobook on my computer at the same time. So I'm dealing with that, a little bit of technical difficulty. I think I found a solution so I can listen to it in the next sprint and continue with that plan. But if that does not work out, I'll just continue listening to the audiobook I'm going to listen to right after this. And then after sprints, I'm going to go to someone else's sprints, and I'm going to actually start Dark Matter. Hear me out. During those sprints, okay? Does this make sense to anyone that isn't me? I don't think so. But yeah, that's kind of the plan right now. I want to, I mean, even if I don't have the ability to do it during sprints today, I will do it later tonight, getting to the end of chapter 1 for Beloved. Oh, I also know why it's called Beloved now, which is the name of the mother main character, her daughter who died, who is haunting the house. So, you know, makes sense. Currently the characters are her, the dead baby haunting the house, which kind of gives the house a character of its own. And in the foreword, Toni Morrison talked about how she kind of wanted the house to have its own personality, its own character. So I can like definitely get that from it. Like, yeah. Her only alive child who's like still there because her other children like instantly left as soon as they noticed the haunting. But her daughter stayed. And then there's this guy who I think his name's Paul D. From her past who has showed up, and there's some stuff going on with that, especially between the daughter and the dead kid, and him. Like, he wants the ghost to leave. The alive child doesn't want the ghost to leave because the only reason she's not lonely is because of that child. So, you know, so far there has been a lot of themes with loneliness, and I'm liking that is a thing. It is dark, hear me out, but I expected that, so it's fine. But like, if you're a person who wants to pick it up, do check out the content warnings, because yeah, it's dark. But yeah, that's basically all I've got to say. Not much for an update, I know, but that's what happens when I only read 54 pages in a day. And I will talk to you if I do manage to read the rest of chapter 1 today. I will talk to you later today with that. If not, I'll do it tomorrow morning with thoughts about either one of the books I'll be reading for this vlog. Hello, it is the same day. Imagine that. Spring just ended, and I got to where I wanted to. In Beloved, I managed to do all the stuff I need to do for technical difficulties to not be an issue. If you hear a weird like air blowing sound, our humidifier sometimes like just doesn't register that there's water in it. And so I finally got it to register that there's water in it because I just filled it up like an hour ago. And so it's working again. But it's gonna go like full speed because I don't know how long it has been working. So we're just gonna ignore that and move on. I read the first chapter of Beloved. And yeah, in the forward, it like she talks about how this real life instance experience story of this woman inspired kind of, I guess, the book itself, and how she changed a few things, added the haunted house aspect, type situation, all that fun stuff. So because of that, she talks about the real life instance, I kind of knew where it was gonna go. Like, I knew what happened,
that would be like the big, oh my god, how could she, all this stuff. I knew what it was gonna be. Which was the big shocking thing for the end of chapter 1 was her stating for the first time what she did. Yeah. So it wasn't particularly, I mean, it wasn't shocking in the way of like it was a surprise, but it's still shocking in the way of, oh my god, this is a super dark thing and sad, and like this poor woman that she thought that she had to do this, all this stuff. I almost said fun stuff. It's not fun. It's very sad. So yeah, it's still its purpose. This is shocking wise. It was there still. And yeah, that's all I've really got to say. I'm really liking it. Do I have really anything else to say? I was gonna try to describe the writing style, but like I don't think I could. Like it plays with time, but with memories, and yeah, I don't know any way to like explain it other than just saying that. So that's what I'm gonna do. But I'm enjoying it, and it's sad, and I get why it's labeled as sad on Storygraph. I get it. And yeah, I do plan to read it for the next 2 days. Just reading the last 2 parts or chapters or whatever you want to call them over the next 2 days. So that's the current plan. I have no clue what I'm gonna rate it. I mean, I realize I'm like 60% of the way through, but I don't know what I'm gonna rate it. I don't think I'll have any idea what I'm gonna rate it until after I like sit down and think about it for a good chunk of time. So there's that. On other news, I'm gonna go start Dark Matter finally. Right now. So I don't even know how long the audiobook is. That's probably something I should know beforehand, but like, why would I do that? And yeah, I guess I'll update you in the morning with any thoughts on Dark Matter. Maybe I'll do it after I read part 2 or chapter 2 of Beloved, so that like I can update you once. Hear me out. I think that's gonna be the plan, but we'll see. With me, we never know. And yeah.
Okay, so we have things to talk about. It is the next day. I forgot to put my bracelets back on, so I'm great at life. But it is like 4 o'clock, and I'm finally sitting down to film. One reason is because I decided to finish Beloved. You know how I said I was gonna read 1 chapter a day, so the plan was to finish tomorrow. Well, because of reasons, I decided to finish it today. And I finished it right after my mom left to go visit her mom. So, you know, good times. Yeah. You know, yeah. I mean, I didn't really expect it to be a 5-star for me just because I'm not as into character-based books as a lot of people. And there's not much plot in general. I'm not mad that the magical aspect wasn't really explained of like what it was, what was happening, why it was happening, or any of that stuff. Just this was a thing that was happening. And, you know, I'm not mad about it. And I liked it. I liked the writing style. I don't have much to say because I feel like I've talked about this book a bunch, but also I feel like I haven't talked about it at all. Like I haven't given its justice. Like, I would say if you are the type of person who likes to listen to audiobooks or dual read, the one that Toni Morrison narrates herself is pretty good. She does go a little slower than I'm used to, but that's fine. Most people do not listen to audiobooks as fast as I do, so like that's fine. And even with that, I went a little slower than normal just because I wanted to ingest all the information thoroughly. I wanted to give it my full attention. And so yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about the very ending between Seth and Paul D. But
But also, I just found out that it's a trilogy. Will I ever continue it? We'll never know. Listen, this is me we're talking about. I'm in the middle of like 6 bajillion series. But, you know, that's fine. Will I ever pick up another Toni Morrison? Hell yeah. Like, of course I will. I think there's a few more on my Goodreads TBR to begin with. So, yeah. Do I want to know what was up with Beloved? Yes. But that's fine. That's fine. And, you know, we love Denver. We believe in Denver. Denver deserves a hug. And yeah, that's really all I've got to say for Beloved. I mean, I haven't waited long before updating you. Like, it's been 5 minutes, if that. But I'm going with 4 stars, which is not a surprise for me, based off the fact that I generally prefer plot-based books over character-based, but that's fine. And yeah. I get why it's a classic. Now, we have to talk about dark matter, because I have been sitting on this for most of this morning, like most of today in general. And I have decided to DNF it. There's a reasoning, and I will explain it, and I don't know if it will make sense to anyone who is not me or my sister who I was talking to about it, and she was like, yeah, no, it makes sense. So, like, maybe only me and her will make sense of this, but there's a reasoning. And hear me out. I feel like the best way to explain it is to just tell you what the book is. Well, we can start off with that, which is basically about this guy. He's got a wife and a child. He's happy. He's got a very basic career. He's a professor. He's not like a world-renowned scientist like he could have been, but he's happy with his life. And, you know, just good times. And then one night on his way back home, he is kidnapped by this guy. A bunch of stuff happens. And then next thing he knows, he basically wakes up in this lab. And they're like, hello, my friend. This is all in synopsis, by the way. They're like, hello, my friend. And he has memories of his wife and his son and that whole life, and he doesn't know who any of these people are who really want information from him. But also when he escapes them, he finds out that his wife has never been his wife. His house is not his house. His wife is with his old roommate. His son never existed. He, instead of being a professor, like just a normal professor, is like one of the most world-renowned scientists in the world. I also think he's like super rich or something. So, you know, things are different. And he's like trying to figure out what is happening. And that's as far as I got. Is him figuring that out, going to see the woman who's supposed to be his wife, and trying to figure out what has happened. And that was at 27%. I was almost a third of the way through. I was just over a quarter of the way through. And we're not even done with the synopsis stuff. Because the synopsis also makes it seem like basically he is a scientist who created something, some drug or machine or something, to make it so you can live your dream life in a way. And basically the point of the book is him trying to figure out which life was his dream life, like which one's the dream, which one's real life, whether the life with the wife and the child was all a dream basically, or if this life where he is some rich scientist is the dream, right? Now, if you watched the Yellow Monochromatic reading vlog where I read Recursion, you'll see the connections and how basically they're kind of the same thing. Hear me out. Hear me out. Okay? Hear me out. Recursion is about this machine that is created by scientists. And this guy who kind of like figures out what's happening, where basically there's this chair that can like makes you time travel, but time travel in memories, and so you change your memories, And then once it reaches the point when you time travel back from, like, everything resets, and everyone who is part of that whole new set of memories suddenly remembers everything that was supposed to happen as well, and it causes a lot of chaos, right? But basically, it's about this guy figuring out about this technology that has affected his life, and his what he thought was his life, and trying to figure out what's real and what's fake, using scientific technology, and trying to figure out who is on his side, really, what's real, the side effects of all of this. Yeah, they're basically the same. I mean, they're not exactly the same, but like, it's the same outline, almost. And hear me out. I recognize that technically Dark Matter came out before Recursion, but I read Recursion first. And Recursion had to do with timeline stuff. I'm not sure if Dark Matter has to do with timeline stuff. And the only reason I liked Recursion as much as I did is because of the timeline stuff. And spoilers for that vlog, but I rated it 3.5 stars. And being, as I already basically read this story in that story, there's no way I'm going to rate it 3.5 stars. The highest I would rate it is a 3-star, and it just feels like a waste of time. And there's no motivation to read it because it basically feels like the same exact book. Does this make sense? I had heard when Upgrade came out recently this year that, I don't know if like all of his books are basically the same premise, but at least Recursion, Dark Matter, and Upgrade are generally the same premise. And I was always like, but I'd only read one. So now that I've read almost a third of Dark Matter, I understand now. And yeah, also I generally don't like the main character in either one of them. And so why would I read a book that I basically know the whole entire everything that's going to happen based off of reading another book that does not motivate me to read at all, and whose main character I don't like. Like, I don't care for the characters, I don't care for the story because I basically already read it. And I don't think the themes in this one are going to be my thing because either they're going to be the same exact themes in Recursion, or they're going to be different themes, but themes I don't like as much because the ones in Recursion were kind of like the ones that would be better for me to read, my type. So with like the time travel and grief and all that fun stuff, okay? So either it's gonna be the same thing in Dark Matter, or it's gonna be different, but wouldn't be able to hit me the same way anyways, because it's not my type of thing, right? Okay, does this make any sense? I don't know. I don't know. But because of that, I've decided to DNF it, okay? There was no motivation. It basically felt useless to read. And, yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about it. I feel bad, because, like, it could be a 3-star, but also, at the same time, I couldn't care any less. So here we are. And yeah, I'm gonna move on with my life from that one. So, yeah, no, I've been sitting on that one for, like, 12 hours, trying to figure out what I want to do with it. Because I stopped in the middle of a chapter when I was reading it last night, and I just didn't want to read it more. Once I figured out what was happening, I was like, wait a second, this is the same book. And then I didn't want to pick it back up. So here we are. So that's fun. I do plan to do sprints tomorrow, and there's a matter of trying to figure out what book I want to read. I think I'm going to do the Riley Sager next, Final Girls. I really know nothing about it, so I can't really tell you anything other than, let's hope I survive this one better than the last time I lied. At least I think his writing style is very easy for me to read, so at least I got that going for me. But, yeah. Also, I kind of want to read a mystery right now anyways. I'm kind of in a romance or mystery mood. I don't know, like, I'm in both mood. I don't know, like, do we understand what my brain is doing? No. But that is what is happening in my brain right now. So, reading a mystery that's good sounds like a good idea right now. And then I can switch to the romance. And then, I don't know what the heck Evernight is. But, yeah, that's it for today. This is, I'm pretty sure, the longest clip I filmed this whole month so far. I think most of that was about dark matter, but that's fine. And I'll update you after sprints tomorrow, probably, with any thoughts I have about whatever book I read, which I think is gonna be Riley Sager. So until then, okay. So I'm only like 45 pages into Final Girls. Because I only read during 2 sprints today because things happen on the internet. We don't need to talk about it, but I don't need the internet to film an update. So far, the plot I'm down for. I think I'm liking it, okay? But hear me out. My issue with The Last Time I Lied was how he sexualized teenage girls. Like, a good chunk of the book was, or multiple times in the book, he would talk about 16-year-olds' sex lives. And I'm just like, I don't want to read about a middle-aged white man talking about a 16-year-old girl doing it in a shower, okay? While a 14-year-old girl watches it happening. I don't want to read that, right? It does talk a lot about Quincy's preferences, and how she handled intimacy after Pine Cottage, but at least she's 19 when it starts with it. She's 19 when Pine Cottage happens, so it's a little bit, but it's not as bad, but still, like, I'm kind of on the fence about it, okay, right? And yeah, so far a lot of the book is her, about how Quincy handles her trauma and everything that happened, and how she tries to go through her everyday life. And that part I'm really interested in. So we'll see how it goes. But so far I'm liking it. I think in general I like Riley Sager's writing style. It really depends on how the plot goes and how he writes a specific character, especially the main girl character. And yeah, I'm gonna go check if the internet is back and probably read more. So yeah, I'll update you whenever. My original plan was to read it all today. I don't think that's gonna happen, fam. But I will try to finish it tomorrow during sprints. So I will update you tomorrow, probably, whenever I get around halfway through. And yeah. So, if you haven't watched the Surprises of the Year video that came out the Wednesday before this comes out, new filming location unlocked. I'm quoting H with that. But yeah. This is a place, where I'm filming now. Since the sister is home, so my normal filming location is taken up since that's her bed. Other things to note before I talk about the actual update. First of all, people are home, but I do need to update. It's been a while. I think the last time I updated you was Friday. We're gonna talk about that. Because it is now Monday. And I wanted to get through most of the books for this vlog before this week started, because I knew that I was gonna be reading for book clubs this week. And doing both at the same time, I knew it was gonna be a little too difficult. But Riley Sager destroyed me. And also, I'm very much in a reading slump. I have read 5 books this month, and one of them is DNF. So that's a thing. But yeah, people are home, so because of that, there may be random cuts and weird stuff, and you may hear things in the background. We're gonna ignore it. But the last update you saw, I think in filming it, if I remember properly, it was like over 10 minutes long, and most of it was me talking about Final Girls. And I think like 10 minutes of me was just talking about what this book is about, and I was only like 50 pages into it at that point. But I think I'm just gonna cut all that out. I'll talk about like my initial thoughts. I'll keep that part in, okay? Hear me out. But like the 10 minutes in which I just talk about what this book is about, I'm gonna cut out, because none of it's important, okay?
None of it is important. Also, we don't need to talk about my nails on this hand. All my real nails broke except for my ring finger. So that's nice. And my fridge just turned off finally. Um, but yeah, I'm just gonna give you the very, 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 very basic premise of Final Girls, which is basically about Quincy, a final girl, one of three, the last of three, well, the most recent of three, who went through this traumatic incident. All of them went through traumatic instances where a killer came and killed a bunch of people, and they are the only people to have survived. It is one thing that I noticed that was a little odd, was that Lisa and Samantha, the two other final girls, both ended up killing the killer in self-defense, and that's how they got away. That isn't what happened with Quincy. I was gonna say technically, but no, not at all. So it's a little weird, but basically it's after the fact. Many years later, she has a boyfriend who she thinks is gonna propose at any moment. She has a very nice apartment, with like security and whatnot paid for in New York City. Like, it's a really, really nice apartment. Basically paid for with blood money, kind of, technically. The families of all the other victims sued, like, basically anyone they could, and she got a portion of the money, and that's what she spent the money on, right? Understandable. Yeah, I get it. After you go something like that, makes sense. But yeah, her boyfriend's a defense lawyer, public defense lawyer, which causes some issues. One, because he can't talk about his cases, and two, a lot of the people he is forced to be a lawyer for are people who are on trial for murder, which is kind of a personal issue for her. Understandable. Okay. And she has a baking blog. Basically the only thing that helped her through the aftermath of the trauma was her dad baking for her after the fact. And then he died of cancer, and she doesn't have a good relationship with her mother. The only person she talks to on a regular basis is Jeff, her boyfriend. And she basically just spends all day in her apartment baking. And it's definitely a lot of survivor's guilt, especially since she does not remember majority of what happened at Pine Cottage, the event in her past. She remembers getting there and everything up until the first one of the friends that she was with getting stabbed, and then nothing until running through the woods and running into the cop. And like, the whole entire middle part is just blank for her, right? And there's a lot of questionable talk about it. Like, it's used as a device to make Quincy seem like an unreliable narrator, but like, she's not unreliable, because in actuality it's everyone else around her gaslighting her, basically, into making her act these ways. And we, as, or at least me as a reader, I recognize that no, someone forcing you to go out to try to be attacked by a man and then not coming in at all, like, they said that they were gonna be like only a foot behind you or something, and so when you were attacked, and so you could beat up someone, they would like be there to help you out and save you, and then they don't show up. Hear me out, that's a little suspicious. And then they know what to do with all the bloody clothes after the fact and all this stuff. Like, hear me out. So it never felt like unreliable narrator. It felt like everyone else was unreliable, and the main character is just kind of an idiot. And her memory loss is like a part of that. Like, it's used as like everyone else believes that she actually did it, and she remembers everything and she's covering, or she remembers and she doesn't want to talk about it. Like, everyone, including one of the other final girls, Sam, who I'll talk about in a minute. The officers that investigated the case, like, the only person who really believes her, Jeff, it doesn't matter if he believes her because they never talk about it. The only person who believes her is the cop who she ran to in the middle of the woods. When she was running, he was there. Yeah. So that's a thing. And I don't know how I feel about that writing style. The stuff about survivor's guilt, I really liked the first like a quarter where it was about survivor's guilt and how she deals with the trauma on an everyday basis, how she just constantly feels lonely because one, there's only two other people in the whole entire world who understands what it's like to be a final girl, and they can never understand the exact stuff because like they don't have issues of memory and whatnot. And then also she like never really talks to people. She doesn't really have any friends. The only person she really talks to is her boyfriend. Like, she's a very lonely person. The way she was forced to be like, I'm fine, like the way her mother forced her into this way of normalcy after everything by putting her on a Xanax prescription, and now she's addicted. And then the survivor's guilt mixed with the not remembering things is very interesting. But then it's just used to make it seem like she is the one who's the problem. And it's that, no, I'm good. The survivor's guilt kind of comes back with when the other final girls, the first one, Lisa, dies. And an hour before she died, she sent an email to Quincy. She did not see it until the day after she figured out that it happened, saying, hey, please call me. Please don't ignore this, whatnot. And so she blames herself because it's originally deemed self-inflicted. I'm trying to be YouTube safe. Eventually, it's learned that no, someone else did it. So that's fun. And because it had been so long and all these police and whatnot had been all through the crime scene beforehand, it seems like it's gonna be basically impossible to figure out who the actual killer is and whatnot. And she really blames herself for that. And she has some issues with accepting that she went through trauma and dealing with her anger with it. She does a lot of things in anger. And also, and hear me out, at one point, at like 2/3 of the way through the book, last night, I searched up how many times she says that she is fine throughout this book, because constantly she's just telling people that she's fine, and everything is fine. It's like 43 times. Like, what? But basically, I don't want to go much more into it, but basically, Sam, the other final girl, shows up and is like, hey, I want to check in on you. But then there's also other stuff. There's like the secret plot twist. Yeah, I guessed half of it a mile away. Actually, from the moment Sam showed up, hear me out. Okay. So there's that. Also, I learned about a third of the way through that, or like more like realized, I don't like how Riley Sager writes his characters, like at all. Like, it actually is not a good time at all. I think the only reason I liked Home Before Dark is because the book inside the book premise and also the actual mystery itself and the setting of the haunted house I really enjoyed. Every other one of his books that I've read, it's really been up to the mystery if I like it, and usually I don't like the mystery or the plot, and all the characters do dumb things or the way they react are so not normal, and it just makes them so unenjoyable. Like, hear me out. Calling up the paparazzi on your friend when you know that she wants privacy, and then saying that it was for her. No, no, that was one of the many times I had to put down my Kindle. I had to put it down so many times. I was reading like maybe 20 pages a day because I was not having a good time. It was like actually painful to read. I get so angry, set it down, and then just not pick it back up. So I had to get the audiobook to listen to. And I planned originally last night to finish it, but I put it down and I did not pick it back up for a bit. Until like 10 this morning. But I did finish it finally. But mixed with my already reading some, this book was not a good time. Okay, hear me out.
I didn't like the characters, of course, obviously. They actually physically made me angry. Like, my skin itched. I was so angry. I am not an angry person, but I got so angry. And there could be something said about how the way that Quincy is angry and how this book made me angry, like, it could be like this whole plan. It doesn't feel like a plan thing. It feels like I'm supposed to like actually root for these characters and all this stuff, and I just wanted to crawl out of my skin to get away from this book. Like I put a hoodie on because I was not having a good time and I just wanted to crawl into a hole when I was finishing it this morning, okay? Like, it was not a good time. And in the mystery, I guessed half of the mystery, right? It's labeled as a thriller mystery. I don't get the thriller aspect. Yeah, it's kind of obvious right from the beginning, one part of it. And, like, even Quincy recognizes that something's a little odd there. And then just, like, constantly questions that one aspect. And then by the end, she's like, oh, yeah, this is what is really happening. I'm like, fam, who could have guessed that that was happening? Quite literally anyone. Okay? Hear me out. Hear me out. But yeah, the twist didn't do it for me. I did not care. If the twist was like somewhat surprising, I guess it could have been a 2.5. But no, I really wish I had DNF'd it. Hear me out. I had wished that I didn't DNF Dark Matter because I would have given that one probably a 3 and I would have had a much more enjoyable time. And then, and hear me out, I would have felt like it was okay to DNF Final Girls. But I didn't because I didn't want to be the type of person to DNF 2 books in one video, especially since I've finally read the synopsis of Evernight and I'm scared I'm going to also DNF that one. So then I just pushed through it with the power of audiobook and as fast as I can make it. And dual reading. And yeah, I finished it finally. It took me way too long and I'm going with 2 stars. I'm just angry. I'm so angry. But I'm also sad because I've read a good chunk of mystery thrillers this year and I haven't enjoyed like most of them. Like, if you haven't seen the most recent video that's posted on my channel, which is the surprise one, I talk about how I'm pretty sure I mention it in the mystery thriller section. There was like only 2 books that were like 4 stars, nothing above that, and the rest were like 3 stars or below that and really underwhelming, or I despised them. And yeah, that's been kind of mystery thrillers for me all this year. And I'm not okay with that. Like, I want to read one that I enjoy, but like apparently I can't find one. So apparently I'm just gonna try to move on. I'm gonna start after I have lunch. It's like 2 p.m. but I'm gonna have lunch now, and then I'm gonna start Dark Lover. I'm gonna save Evernight for the end, in case I do DNF it. Hear me out. I want to end on the low one. I don't know. I don't think that the premise of a not like other girls girl going to this like rich popular girls school and then falling in love with this guy, but like he makes her stay away because he doesn't want the other people in the school to hurt her and she's not like other girls. Like, that's like the whole entire premise. I'm not sure if I'm gonna like that. And it would help if I had the audiobook, but was there ever an audiobook for that book? Because I can't find it. I can't find it anywhere. Like, it's not even on Audible. So that's fun. So I'm gonna save that one for the end. I'm gonna try to spend a maximum of 2 days with Dark Lover here, okay? Hear me out. There are 389 pages in this tiny version. So, you know, we love that. I love how shiny it is. But yeah, I'm gonna try to read this in only 2 days. I kind of want to get to chapter 20. That's just the random page I opened up to, but that's page 153. So a little under halfway through, but with me reading the last 130 pages of Final Girls today, yeah, that seems acceptable and doable, and hopefully I'll have a good time. I'm worried because I just looked up the content warnings on Storygraph. So I'm worried because SA was among them. But that's fine. It's a vampire romance, I'm pretty sure. Based off of me reading the synopsis for the first time, that's on the back of this book. I'm pretty sure I did not read the back of the book when I filmed my TBR. But basically, I think the romance is between Wrath, wow, what a name, and Beth. A lot of THs there, fam. Basically, he wants to take down the slayers who killed his family a long time ago, and he's got like fighters or army or something, and one of his most trusted fighters dies in this attempt to take these slayers down, and because of it, his that guy has a daughter who is half vampire, and apparently she doesn't know that she's vampire or something, and whatnot, and so he has to go and find her and bring her into this vampire world and take care of her, right? Okay. It is just, she's described as beautiful female, and he must usher her into the world of the undead, and then starts the paragraph about her in which basically things are happening. I assume it sounds like puberty, but I assume she's not like a teenager, and two, I assume it's the change of like something to do with vampire blood in her system or what, you know? And then Wrath comes in, and she calls him dangerously sexy. Great. But she can't do anything against him. And then his tales about the brotherhood frighten her, and I quote the last sentence on the back of this, but his touch ignites a drawing hunger that threatens to consume them both. So basically she's his ward, and then they bang. I think that's what kind of happened. Hear me out. I'm down. I have read not the best romances, not the best vampire books, and not the best mystery thrillers so far, this month. I want to say most everything I've read so far this month has not been great. So, you know, that's fun. So something just like fun and lighthearted. Like, I know this isn't going to be a serious book that is world-renowned writing or any of this stuff. And I'm pretty sure it was Helen in the comments, may have been someone else, I don't know, in my TBR, who mentioned that I'm pretty sure this came out in the early 2000s. When did this come out? Okay, it is early 2000s. I checked the publication page, you know, that page. Also, when I was trying to find the publication page, I realized that there's a glossary in the front. So that's interesting. And whatnot. But, you know, 2005. I was thinking early 2000s. So someone mentioned in my comments, I can't quite remember who at this point, it's been so long, that some of it does not stand up. I'm gonna go into this knowing this, and not expecting the greatest book ever, and just wanting a fun time. I want to experience some joy, okay? So I'm gonna read this vampire romance, this dark vampire romance. I don't know, fam. This clip is way too long. Pretty sure I still managed to talk about Riley Sager for too long, but that's fine. And I'm gonna move on with my life and read this. So I probably won't update you again today. Hear me out. So I will talk to you tomorrow morning with any thoughts I have about the beginning of this. And until then, I will probably still be in this chair reading this book. Honestly, I don't know what I said in the last clip. Oh, we're gonna be ranting about Final Girls, okay? But I look like a mess. We're gonna ignore it. It is like 8 p.m., 8:30 p.m. I just finished editing a whole entire video that doesn't have to go up for a whole week instead of like this one that has to go up in a few days. We're not talking about it. I should be getting ready for bed. People are home. I'm pretty sure the dishwasher is running below me. And I'm 98% sure my old phone that I use to listen to audiobooks because it has an iPhone jack
is like dead. But I finished Dark Lover today. It took me 3 days. I'm pretty sure I wanted to get to like 150 pages the first day. I think I read 68, which is fine. It was like a little bit slower than I wanted it to be, and I wanted to, one, get this video done, and two, do other things. So I managed to get my hands on the audiobook, and I listened to it for, I think I listened to half of it yesterday and finished it today, where I listened and read along. Honestly, hear me out, I'd go with the audiobook. This book isn't written in a way that is like hard to read. So listening to the audiobook, just alone, sometimes I just have it going while I like made thumbnails or whatnot. Cleaned up my TBR on Goodreads because I need to do that and all that fun stuff. But like, this book isn't like a difficult book to read, so like I could do that stuff and not feel like I'm missing anything. Especially with the way I listen to audiobooks. Oof. But yeah, this was a thing. It was heavy at moments. Hear me out. It's weird how it's like super heavy. I did mention that the content warnings on Storygraph said essay, and I was worried. Yeah, the first chapter, the first scene with the main character Beth is that. And I basically skimmed that whole entire part because I did not want to read that. I basically went, this is a guy, not good guy. She got away. So that's fine. But yes, that happened. Chapter 2 was her bio dad dying in a car explosion. I laughed. It tried to be serious at moments, like it really did. But also one, character reactions and interactions kind of didn't fit the way that you'd expect people to react to things. But also, like, this is a book where she basically becomes the award to like the vampire king, because right before her bio dad died, he asked him to basically help her transition if it came to that, and he said no, and then her dad died, so then he feels like he has to do it. But then as soon as they first meet, they just bang. And it's just a lot of them banging and then occasionally having conversations, and then a lot of death and other stuff in the background. Like, I don't know what was happening with the cop Butch and lover vampire guy Wrath and his ex and Butch. Yeah, I don't understand. Most of the other Brotherhood, I don't know what's going on there. I assume the rest of the series has to do with like them finding wives or something. Yeah, I don't care. Also, the way that they got married within like knowing each other for 5 days, that's fun, I guess. Hear me out. I do think they make a good long-term relationship, despite the fact that like most of what we see in the book is the spicy dance. Just them constantly spicy dance. They're just like constantly in the mood. But like, it's a lot of them just wanting to be close to each other, and then also he helps her be strong and she helps him be vulnerable, and I think they could be good for each other. I'm not sure about the whole entire royalty aspect, one, because he's never had to be a king before and he's scared about it, and then two, like, she's a half human who doesn't know anything about this world, so how good of a queen can she be? Like, how much can she help you in this aspect of your lives? But other than that, like the personal life stuff, yeah, I get it, I understand. I'm going with 3 stars. Don't think I'm gonna continue the series. I just don't care enough. I don't think I'm gonna like unhaul it. For now, I'm just gonna keep it on my shelves. But like, I'm good with the rest of the series. Maybe if I just went with the audiobook, maybe. Because the narrator did a pretty good job, and I'm pretty sure he narrates the rest of them. So, maybe, but like, I don't think so. I think it's just gonna be this one and one and done. Unless if someone like dares me to it. I don't know. Whatever. And so that leaves us with the last book for this vlog, which is Evernight. Hear me out. I'm scared. I'm scared. Because from what I understand from reading the synopsis, one,
I realized how low the ratings on Goodreads were earlier today. But 2, from what I understand, is about this girl. I think I mentioned this, but about this girl who ends up going to this like private school of some kind, and the culture there, is not something she's used to, and she tries to be like she's not like other girls, but people don't like that about her and whatnot. And then there's this like one guy who she's into and he's into her, but if they're like a thing, then people will use his weakness by liking her to destroy him or something. And the school aspect, especially the culture that it sounds like in this school, I've read similar things in other books, and I really don't like that. So this is what's gonna happen. I am going to try, and I'm just gonna go to the fridge turning on. I'm gonna try, and I am going to, if at one point, really start having negative feelings about this book. If I start having negative feelings, I'm going to try for another 50 pages. And if at that point I still have those negative feelings, I'm just gonna DNF it. And this is gonna be a vlog in which I should have DNF 3 books, but instead you've got 2 books and one where I rant for 10 minutes, okay? That's fine. I just have to accept this as a fact because I don't think I'm gonna like it. Maybe I should have looked into what it is before I decided to make it a part of this vlog, but like that was a year ago, okay? We don't talk about it. And yeah, I'm gonna start that. I'm gonna try to start it tonight. We'll see. But I should like get ready for bed. It's like 8:30 p.m. I should like do skincare and whatnot, so I'm gonna go, and I'll talk to you tomorrow if I have any thoughts. Who knows? Honestly, who knows in this world? But yeah, I kind of really want to finish this by the end of Friday. So, you know, we'll see. Also, why is there no audiobook? Does the universe hate me? I think so. But yeah, I'm not gonna be mad at myself if I end up DNFing it, and that's fine. That's okay. I just have to accept this fact and move on with my life. And yeah, I'll see you later.
Welcome to the final clip of this vlog that has the weirdest lighting possible. I was getting ready for bed, as one does, and then I realized I could update the vlog, and this is actually kind of a good time to do it because I'm pretty sure no one's like walking around downstairs. So here we are. So the lights are, the red ones are off, so this one's yellow, that one's white, but it's too much to the side, so like we're just gonna accept it for what it is, and move on and talk about Evernight, which I did DNF 65 pages in, I want to say. And let me explain. I have this issue with especially YA books or books that take place in a school setting, with how students, other students, peers, sometimes teachers treat characters. There's sometimes this way that they do it that really bothers me, and I really dislike it. It was an issue in the Zodiac Academy book. It was a little bit of an issue in Mara Dyer, but like it was maybe 5 pages total. I'm trying to think of other ones who have done it, but like I really despise it when that happens, and I was scared that was gonna happen in this book. Yeah, that happens. I was basically 20% of the way through this book, and there was basically no hint at there being vampires, but it's a vampire book according to Goodreads. Where? I don't know. I don't know. And then also the dialogue in general was so weird. Like, on top of the way that other students would interact with the main character, it was also an issue of just like her parents, quite literally just like anyone, even her. Like, a lot of the dialogue was almost uncanny. Like, it was very unlifelike, and someone should have told her to edit how she writes dialogue, because it was not good. It was very cringy at times, and it
took me out of the book a lot. Around 45%, I had to put it down in fear of throwing my Kindle across the room, okay? And then I picked it back up like an hour later, and I got to page 65. I was trying to get to page 101, and I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it to myself, so I stopped it. Okay, I'm not that surprised. I'm just sad. This is a vlog that is just pure chaos. That should have been 2 books that I read and enjoyed, and 3 books I should DNF'd, but I didn't DNF on them, and here we are. But yeah, that's all I've got to say about Evernight. I think they're supposed to be vampires. I don't even know who the vampire character would be. Like, I don't know. And I'm so confused. And it was not a good time. Basically just any character interaction. It was like actually causing me pain how bad it was and how unenjoyable it was. And when I put in my log for me DNFing, I basically just put in, out of all the options, annoying characters, because like that's the only way I can think to describe him. But yeah, that is my experience with that book. So let's just do the general rundown of all 5 books. I'm pretty sure I started with Beloved by Toni Morrison. I mean, I expected to enjoy that book and have a good time with it, and I did. Who would have guessed that that was going to be the best book by far in this whole entire vlog, honestly. That one did take a bit longer for me to read, but I'm not mad about it because it is a slower book. But the writing style, I can't think of any other book, I've been trying to, that's done a similar writing style, especially with time and memories and whatnot. I don't know if that makes any sense based off of anything I've said previously, but I do remember really loving the writing style, knowing what was going to happen in the surprising sense based off of the forward, but I mean, it was still surprising because like it's just a surprising thing, right? The story itself, the characters, yeah, I liked it. 4 stars. After that, I believe is when I started Dark Matter and ended up DNFing it. My main issue was the character, the main character. I did not enjoy reading about him, and then also it was basically the same exact book as Recursion. And so when I posted that I DNF'd it on Goodreads, someone that I'm friends with on Goodreads said that it was a good decision and the main character gets more insufferable the further you get. I think I got like a third of the way through, like 27, I don't know, I think 27%. But yeah, I'm happy I DNF'd it then, because if the main character gets even worse, I can't even imagine, like, and there's no way it could have been better than Recursion for me, being as Recursion was like everything I would want from that type of story. So it's either would have been the same exact thing and so not worth it, or something else that wouldn't have been what I wanted, right? So DNF'd it. Final Girls, the book I should have DNF'd around a third of the way, maybe halfway through. Like, seriously, me, why? Also the book that you got a 10-minute rant about. At least you get that content, okay? At least that came out of it. Yeah, I didn't like it. 2 stars. Despite the fact that I DNF'd 2 books for this vlog, I'm gonna say Final Girls was the worst one in this vlog. It was, I don't like how he writes his characters, so the mystery thriller aspect has to do it for me, but the mystery thriller aspect also wasn't good. Like, I guessed one of the main points, or twists, and it was just not good, and I really should have DNF'd it. I'm scared to read Lock Every Door, because that's gonna be in the next one of these videos in February, so I'm scared. But I think that's probably gonna be my last Riley Sager, at least for a while, because his most recent ones, from what I have looked at, are not gonna be my kind of books. So yeah, That's just how it is at this moment in time for Riley Sager and me. And that's just how it gotta be. Also, I've just had really bad luck with mystery thrillers this whole entire year. It's not been good. So, you know. And then I read Dark Lover. My mind has confused this whole entire 2-week period in which I've read these books, but that's fine. This one was fine. 3 stars. It was what I expected. I guessed the main plot point and plot point that like was the big dramatic thing pretty early on, like within 10%. It's kind of heavy at points, which is weird because at other points it's a bunch of vampires simping over this one woman. So, you know, that's fine. It's got a lot of steamy scenes, but like it doesn't go into detail a lot. So, there's that. Like, I've definitely read steamier steam scenes, so it's whatever. But I do like see how they could be a good couple. The way that they work together emotionally. It like actually seems like a fitting relationship that could work in the long run. So you know, that's a good time. I just want to know what Beth's father would think of his best friend being with his daughter. Hear me out. Am I gonna continue with the series? I don't think so. I really don't think so. I may pick up one of the audiobooks like if I'm in the mood for it, but I really don't think so. I'm fine with just having read the first book and moving on with my life. And it's whatever. And then we got Evernight, of course, which I DNF'd. Didn't like the characters, character interactions, dialogue, all that stuff. Yeah. And one of my biggest, I guess, pet peeves, one of my biggest dislikes for YA books, especially in a school setting, was in there. And yeah, I was scared of it being in there as soon as I read the synopsis, and I was right. So here we are. And yeah, this whole entire vlog's been a mess, and now I gotta edit all of it tomorrow, but you know, that's fine. Thank you for coming to this vlog. It's been a time. Up above in the cards is the playlist for the Monochromatic reading vlogs. Yay. Periodically every Wednesday, this Wednesday was the first one. I will be posting for the rest of the month end of year videos. The next video will be one where I talk about my favorites of the year. I should know because it's already edited, scheduled, and up. Like it's all ready to go. As soon as it hits 10 a.m. on that Wednesday, it's going live. Like it's all good. I'm ahead of on all those. It's just any other video I'm behind on. But yeah, thank you for coming to this video. Linked below is my Goodreads Instagram and Storygraph. I do post reviews on all 3. Haven't really done it in December because December's been very busy and hectic. Okay. I kind of want to start back up in January. We'll see when I start it back up. But I also on Instagram post favorites of the month, little ratings with just the star and maybe 1 sentence about the books on my stories for books in my vlogs. So if you want to know what's happening with vlogs beforehand, that's a thing. I also have book trackers on there, little graphics, and if you want to stay tuned with like what I'm reading throughout the month as I'm reading them, Goodreads is probably the way to go. But yeah, that's on my social media. Thank you for coming. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.